Guys, Random Bearded Veteran here with
another Random Bearded Veteran.
Thanks for tuning in on either YouTube or Facebook to watch this video, courtesy of Niagara Quartermaster. As you can see, now that the curve has been flattened somewhat and this whole beer flu thing is kind of getting under control, not gone, but under control here in Ontario and the rest of the country, we've figured it's a little safer to crawl out of our boogaloo bunkers and give you guys a few more wonderful videos. So Dan, what are we talking about today?
I thought we were talking about guns. Are we talking about boots?
Well, that would explain all these things in front of us. So,
it would.
I guess we are. I guess we're talking about that. So the biggest thing I like to talk about with footwear is the cardinal rule. If you take care of your feet will take care of you.
It's true.
So
we have a history of boots from the Canadian Forces here in front of us. Starting with when Random Bearded Veteran and I got in the Army, this was the standard issue, the Mark III. The saying used to be, when the boot breaks your foot in, it'll be comfortable.
If it doesn't break your foot in the process.
It's leather. It's got a solid rubber sole on it with a basic tread pattern. No insulation, no waterproofing except for polish. Polish will actually waterproof your boots a bit, and then there's sealers you can spray on top of that. Mink oil is a good one. Following that up, we have the Bosnia-era desert boots. It's a little bit lighter. Some of these had a safety toe. This one does not. A little bit better tread on it.
You can see the Vibram sole as well. So you've got a little better shock absorption when you're out in the patrol or running and gunning.
And a giant leap forward in technology, the cold, wet weather boots. Personally, I never liked these.
Frankenstein called. He wanted his boots back.
Yeah. They got some things going for them. They're not the worst boot in the world. They are actually Gore-Tex lined. So that'll keep you warm and dry even when it's snowing, wet, and raining sideways. They do have a Vibram sole on them. The thing to watch with these is the Vibram sole they put on gets really hard in the winter. So it's almost like walking on a hockey puck. It's not good on ice. Cold weather, not icy weather.
So keep in mind, the Canadian Forces bought a boot that freezes in the wintertime when there's ice on the ground.
To be fair, I think it was done with the CBC in mind, and that way when they go to surplus, they can get all the hockey pucks for the Leafs to practice with.
Exactly. Still won't win the cup, but as long as they're trying, God bless them. Anyways, so moving on, we've jumped into the next generation. This is the stuff you started seeing a lot more of in Afghanistan and beyond, where we're seeing more people wearing a commercial manufactured boot in general service issue. So rather than with this one and this one, the government procured a contract on their own to build the boot. This time they said, you know what's a really good idea?
Let's go to somebody who makes boots and ask them to make a boot.
Maybe we'll just get them to design one for us, or we'll just buy whatever they're using that already works. You can tell just from looking at something like this. Today we're looking at the Ultima. We've got something that's designed with much more of a style of a running shoe or a work boot. So you can tell with the sole, much more shock absorption. We've got a good blend of rubber and foam to cushion when you're running around. It's far more lightweight. You've got a lot more of the cordura here with the leather to allow for ventilation and heat dispersion. And as well, kind of a nice little fancy feature, you got a zipper right on the side for getting on and off quickly, which is really nice when you only have an hour to sleep.
Or when you're expected to be in your boots the entire day. You can at least rest your hands.
Absolutely.
Following along with that, my personal favorite, the Swats. They also have the nice zipper. Now these particular Swats, one of the things you can get with them is the safety toe. And it's if you got to work in a work environment that calls for them, these are a really comfortable boot. They do have a CSA approved safety toe. And depending on which Swat model you have, they do have liners that are waterproof and bloodborne pathogen proof. They went all out on their testing. Again, lots of ankle support in it. Very comfortable. It's got some padding to it. It's not just raw leather. And yeah, again, the safety toe, the nice sole on it. This is a very nice modern boot, very comfortable.
Now, one thing to bring up, because everybody's always wondering, okay, well, this is all sorts of wicked cool high-speed, low-drag gear. But, you know, I'm a 14, 15, 16-year-old airsofting kid, and thanks to coronavirus, I don't have a part-time job anymore. So what am I supposed to do? And that's a great question. Well, that's why we brought up some of these surplus boots, because we want to talk about as well is, as great as it is, to be able to buy yourself a great $200 pair of boots. Let's be honest, you may not be able to afford it. Maybe you got $40 to kill. So what's within your price range there? Well,
These guys.
kind of looking at this. Now that being said, these are 40, that's 44, these are 70. So we can talk about these, because just because it's a used boot doesn't mean it's a bad boot. But things you want to keep in mind and look for on these boots is, what are you getting into? So, case in point, these are basically the best quality truck tire rubber, I'm pretty sure, that the government was able to find. So you're not going to get the shock absorption, the support, and the comfort that you would normally find in a newer boot. However, you can buy insoles, you can get these resoled down the road if you wanted to, and a lot of these surplus boots were being sold off brand new. So if you look around, and NQ's got a huge stockpile of them sitting around here too, you can probably find an almost completely unused pair.
Again, these were the first boots I was issued. One of the things I like about them more than some of the other boots is the heel on them. Now, boots got a heel, who cares about that? In airsofting, maybe, maybe not. It could give you some extra traction over broken terrain, climbing up hills, things like that. Personally, if you ride a motorcycle, these are some of the best boots you can grab because that heel on them just sticks right to the pegs. Ankle support, however, not quite as good in boots.
However, something to keep in mind, you've got running shoes, mid-tops, and high-rise. If you haven't grabbed any of the mid-rise boots yet, but we may just take a break at some point and bring a few up just to show you the difference in them. When you're playing in a field especially, so you're doing the outdoor stuff, it's always good to have a higher ankle support. The reality is when you're running across uneven terrain, you may not always be looking where you're going, and the last thing you want to do is roll an ankle. You roll an ankle in one of these boots, even these $40 old-ass boots, these are still going to protect your ankles a lot better than a running shoe. And honestly, man, the difference if you roll your ankle hard enough and you're playing and playing hard can mean the difference between an ankle being really sprained or a trip to the ER because you've gotten yourself an open fracture. Nobody wants to see that, right? So you always want to make sure you're getting the best pair of boots within your price range. Another thing you want to look at is when you're looking at a used boot, you want to check your tread and your tread wear.
Probably the first thing you should check is the tread of the boot.
Yeah. The more worn out it is, the more you're basically trying to walk in somebody else's gait or pattern. And that's going to affect your feet and your comfort level because you're not going to walk the same way that dude walks, right? Everybody has their own little way of doing things. So if it's really worn out and you're seeing it's almost flat and bald like an old pair of tires, probably best to take that boot, put it aside, and keep looking for one that might have a slightly stronger, slightly more durable toe on it. So, for example, this desert boot here, you've got a lot more life left on these treads, right?
It's also a more aggressive tread as well.
You're going to be able to grip a little better. Something in the summertime, for example, this is a good boot for that because this cloth is going to breathe a lot more so your feet don't heat up into the sweat.
That being said, anybody who's been to, say, Icebreaker or some of the big fields out there, they got big puddles.
Sometimes you just run into a swamp.
This will fill up like a glass and stay full of water, whereas the desert boot over here with the material on the side will drain a bit better. And so same thing with the Altama. It's got more ability to drain. I mean, if you're really getting into the wet, you might want a jungle boot, but I'm only going to recommend that if you're planning to be submerged for a period of time.
Yeah. One thing I do want to touch on as well with the newer boots, so like the SWAT here, which is a waterproof version, the waterproof membrane, similar or identical to Gore-Tex, it's a one-way membrane, meaning water will not be able to go in. However, moisture on the inside is able to go back out. So even if this got full of water, it will gradually dry itself out somewhat. So if you can, like I said, afford it, you always try to get the best equipment you can within your price range.
You brought up a great point. Gore-Tex. I don't got a big budget, but I understand Gore-Tex is good. Should I look at maybe these?
Great question. Well, let us tell you a personal story from when we went overseas. One of the things we had to do was a 13-kilometer rucksack march. In my infinite wisdom, I managed to bust up my knee right beforehand, and that kind of hurt doing the march. However, one of
How
our
did you break that knee again?
I was doing the robots. Stupid story, but still not as stupid as the guy who wore these at the 13K march. Because these boots are a cold, wet leather boot, meaning they're insulated. When you're doing a lot of active physical work, especially something like a fitness test where you're walking with a rucksack on your back,
Or say playing airsoft for a 18-hour game.
especially in the summertime, your feet will sweat a lot. So we can talk another time about sock systems and what's good to wear inside the boot, or touch on it later. But it's important to remember, especially in warm weather, this is an insulated boot. This is kind of like wearing a winter jacket in July if you're going to put these on your feet. Kind of a crazy concept, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
So this guy wore these boots on that march, and he literally wore his skin on his ankles and heels down to the point where it was just blisters and blood. So, not to scare you guys, it was pretty graphic. So it's why it's really important to think about what you're going to wear. And Dan touched on a great concept of Gore-Tex that I want to piggyback off of. All you can afford is one of these bad boys. How do you keep your feet dry?
Well, first step, yeah, Gore-Tex booties are fantastic. If you can find a pair, buy them. They got U.S. and Canadian surplus ones. There's an infinite number of hiking stores that sell them. Gore-Tex socks are a great way to go. Gore-Tex booties, depending on how they're designed, what the weather's for. It's a great extra step to put in there, especially if you don't have a long boot. As I was saying before, especially with the old leather boots, one of the things you can do is properly polish the boot so it's all one color. That polish is made out of wax. It will actually give you a waterproof layer. On top of your polish, you can go and then put mink oil, and it will be a waterproof layer. And with those two things on there and a pair of socks, you're pretty good. You put a warm pair of socks on, and I mean, I made it through winter exercising with those. I don't recommend it, but you can do it.
Absolutely. It's important if you're going to be playing, say, a weekend mill sim, bring a lot of extra pairs of socks, too. What kind of socks should you wear, depending on how you want to do this? There's a couple
sock
options.
video.
We are going to have to do a sock video. The short answer to this, and I won't go into depth, is you can do single pair sock systems where you get like a good work sock, or you can use a 2-pair sock system using, say, an inner nylon and an outer wool sock, allowing your foot to draw the moisture away and then into the wool, which will breathe. So that helps with regulating temperature, especially when you're in a boot like this where you don't have a lot of shock absorption. That extra cushioning on the socks helps to absorb impact, coupled with a good quality insole.
Now, speaking of insoles, any of these, you need to buy a new insole. Guaranteed. At least one. These, you still might want to invest in a good insole. I'm not going to go with a particular brand over any other, but I personally like the ones with the gel insoles. They are very good at shock absorption, as well as molding to the bottom of your foot so it's comfortable as you step. There's also ones that are out there that are going to help drain, give a little extra space. So look around, maybe go to an athletic store and talk to them. Tell them honestly what you're going to be doing. I'm going to be outside running around in these boots. What's a good insole? And they will know what insoles to recommend. But buy an insole. Please, please do not wear whatever comes with these boots. And even if you're spending the money, it's your feet. The more you take care of your feet, the longer you're going to be able to walk, both in-game and in life. So I can't say enough, buy insoles, protect your feet. Buy good boots when you can afford them. Buy the best boots you can get, best conditioned boots you can get, if that's all you can afford. If I didn't want to look dumb, I wouldn't have joined the Army.
Absolutely. And then all the other goofy things we've done in our lives, which we won't go into at this juncture, but maybe one day in the video. Needless to say, yeah, I think we've covered a lot of the gist of it. We've talked about the good of the new, the potential downfall of the older stuff, but with that being said, they are still well-made boots. So here's another concept. People are going to say, well, why would I buy a boot like this when I have a good pair of running shoes or hiking shoes or something of that nature? So let's talk about something else here, which is durability. Hiking shoes are made for light use, right? I mean, unless you're buying a really, really expensive hiking boot.
In which case, you might as well buy one of these anyhow.
Yeah, exactly. At that point, you're looking at something that wasn't designed to put up with the same kind of rigorous exposure to water, getting soaked and dried off and running through and all sorts of other stuff, right? The advantage of these military boots was that one of the criteria when the tender was put out to get them made, they wanted them to be durable and rugged. They needed them to hold up to demanding battlefield conditions. So the advantage of a boot like this versus, say, other stuff on the market, like a running shoe or even just a cheaper pair of boots from Walmart, is that these boots were designed to be worn in a war where supplies aren't always everywhere, which means it's going to hold up a lot better. One thing I will say about these old Mark IIIs is as uncomfortable as these Canadian Forces boots were, they were unbreakable. It took a long time to wear one of these pairs of layouts. So if all you can afford is $40 for a pair of boots, another $10 a shoe polish down the road to treat it, and a decent Dr. Scholl's or whatever insole inside, some good socks, and honestly, you're going to be doing pretty good. Your feet will be relatively comfortable, you'll be warm and dry, and still be able to keep up with everybody else.
It will cover the basics of what you need. You'll get the job done.
Exactly. If you're looking at commercial boots, Swats, Ultima, Danner, there's a lot of them out there. Do some research, read some Google reviews, and see what you like. You can get a side zip or a straight up lace boot, depending on what your personal preference is as well. I personally think the side zips are good, but I've also had a couple of them break on me. And one of the problems is if that zipper does break, you're going to have to tape it up or something, or else your feet are going to keep falling out. So if you're on a milsim and your zipper goes, it's going to be a weird long weekend.
Hope you got some gaffer tape.
I hope so too. So yeah, that's truthfully, I think we've covered the gist of what we need to cover today, unless you can think of anything else to add.
Come to Niagara Quartermaster and buy boots.
Yes. Truth be told,
they have a good selection.
They have a good selection, good price. Let's be honest, guys. The economy took a huge hit with coronavirus. NQ is one of the independent stores that are out there. They've always been good to Dan and I. They've always had great equipment. They've stood behind their products. They're not paying us to do this. They're not paying me to say this crap. I'm just putting it out there because at the end of the day, like I said on the promo video, we're all in this together. If we enjoy airsoft and we want to keep the hobby going, we all have to support each other, and that means supporting those small businesses that are dependent on us to come in and buy what they need.
Yeah.
So, come in, support it as much as you can, where you can, and
that doesn't mean coming in and dropping hundreds of dollars either. Like, as we started off, there's players out there that are out of jobs, that are just getting into the working environment, and they don't have a lot of money. So supporting your local business can mean also coming out and playing when the field opens back up.
Exactly.
Coming into the store, hanging out, getting some stuff tuned up, and get yourself ready, but it doesn't necessarily have to mean spending money or dropping money here. Mm-hmm. Come to the store, show your support. When you can buy stuff that you need, buy stuff that you need, and get out there and play.
Yeah, get out here, get to know the players, the fans, the culture, and the base. Come out and learn more about the sport, like what you can do, and just how fun it can be. In the meantime, obviously, standard safety caveats apply. NQ's got the hand sanitizer. They're doing social distancing and recommending you wear a mask if you can't do that, right? We're going to encourage, obviously, the same kind of thing. We all got our masks on us when we need them. Mine's sitting just over there because Dan and I here,
This is for YouTube, so if there's never another video, you know what happened.
Yeah, this will
mask
go proof. Yeah. But seriously, wash your hands, maintain distancing, be safe out there, and let's do what we can, where we can, to keep helping the economy move forward, be safe, and get through all of this together.
And don't be a dick.
Absolutely, that's the number one rule in airsoft. Don't be a dick. Anyways, random bearded veteran here.
And another random bearded veteran.
Saying thanks for watching. Keep showing your support, and we'll see you guys next time.